Welcome back, stupendous sapiens, to FatLogic, where a person eats a family pack worth of food and pretends it's healthy. From Sylvia's Dead. You just ate a dozen donuts and want more, but you're normal? You're wonderful? Yay? New to anti-diet and HAES. Ate a dozen donuts and a quart of milk. Is this normal? Normally I have a green smoothie for breakfast because I'm being so-called good. But today I hit up the local bakery. 20 minutes later I'm washing down the 12th donut with the last of my milk. I'm still in the parking lot, and I'm considering round 2 with muffins and bagels. But I'm having a lot of guilty thoughts now. It's very normal to go through a phase or phases of indulging in foods we used to restrict. One of the tenets of intuitive eating, if you're familiar with it, is giving oneself unconditional permission to eat. A lot of folks call this the refeeding stage. It's necessary to get past restrictiveness and assigning moral value to food. You're normal, you're wonderful, and donuts are delicious. I highly recommend reading the Intuitive Eating book if you haven't yet. Trust the process. As long as you allow yourself to binge and let these episodes happen, the sooner you'll get to the point where you eat so-called normally. A bunch of numbers replied. I saw this thread. A single Dunkin' Donuts glazed is 240 calories, so that's 2,880 calories. A quart of milk is 600 more. That's almost 3,500 calories in one hit. She literally ate enough in one sitting to feed 2 overweight sedentary women for an entire day, and she's considering going back for bagels. From Kitchakit. Okay, but when you're morbidly obese and sedentary and everything hurts when you stand up, there's going to be a temporary lack of enjoyment that comes with just getting up from the couch. I had to push through it to get to the point where I enjoy exercise every day. Hashtag FitzPo mentality. Runs until reaches fatigue. Intuitive exercise mentality. Runs for as long as enjoyment lasts.
I must be doing it wrong. I've run for a set amount of time. Whoopsie.
Ishimaru replied, the first 10 minutes of cardio are absolute heck for me, but after that period I can go for an hour and a half on a machine or 3 hours walking. So if I followed this mentality, I would never exercise. From Panda Metaphor. Not to get too personal, but I lost 45 pounds this quarantine. Big smile with lots of teeth. That's fatphobic. Reaper Reader replied, well, fair enough. The original poster is probably also cancer-phobic and heart disease-phobic and accidentally driving into people-phobic. From Mending Wall. The purpose of a healthier diet is so you can make it past 80 in the first place. Are you going to eat like that when you're 80 years old? Before you start that next diet, ask yourself this question. Do I want to be eating like this when I'm 80 years old? Can I maintain this for the rest of my life? Old woman emoji? If the answer is no, what is the point? Do you really want to be tracking your Weight Watcher points or inputting your food into MyFitnessPal when you're 80 years old? Vinkend replied, have you ever wanted to be good at something? Before you dare to again realize that you'll one day be physically incapable of doing what you can do now. So, what's the point? You might as well die now because you'll be dead one day, idiot. I love my body more than you do. Ava Bad brings us, honestly, if I die with a thigh gap, I'd want that on my tombstone. Diet culture is scary because it makes you think your body will be you legacy. It's a picture of a tombstone with a skull and crossbones on it. I guess she was also a pirate. Diet culture Deb. She had a killer thigh gap, never missed a workout, was once in ketosis for a whole month probably. No pain, no gain, Fitzpo 24/7. Except this is not going to be Deb's legacy, since it's spooky season. Pumpkin, skull and crossbones, glass ball, a reminder that you're more than your body, and the people in your life love you because of who you are, not what you look like. Leave a legacy that isn't superficial. Right count. Well, folks, don't bother doing anything except getting married or breed, because if it's not written on your tombstone, apparently, it doesn't matter.
And really, if you want people to notice your tombstone, you better invent a time machine so that you can die before you were born. Otherwise, you're just going to have another boring tombstone in a field of tombstones.
Ostensibly Normal brings us, if your order prompts the waitress to ask this question, maybe you should rethink what you consider appropriate to eat for lunch. I ordered a sundae and a thick shake from McDonald's at food court, and a waitress asked, are you having a sweet tooth day? And I said, pardon? And she repeated it. I could hardly enjoy my lunch, so I know what you mean. Looking back, I overreacted to her innocent question. She was just young and dumb.
I think she's missing part of that phrase. If you're young, don't look it up.
Indie Sympathy replied, I don't know where this lady is from, but in the real world, we call these types of conversations pleasantries. I cut myself something awful the other day and I realized my first aid kit wasn't well stocked. So I ran to the local grocery store that had a pharmacy, grabbed some bandages and disinfectant, and on the way out saw a little cookbook I wanted. The cashier looked at my basket and said, I don't think you can cook anything with those. And we laughed. It did not ruin my experience with shopping or bleeding.
Wait a second. You can ruin your experience with bleeding?
Hit in his back brings us. I hope this individual finds the healing they need. If I got Bud-19 and doctors had to decide who to treat and who not to treat, I would die as a fat person. Hashtag fatphobia, hashtag weight bias fat shaming. Complained to the doctor about overwhelming fatigue. He said if he had to lift 100 extra pounds out of a chair every day, he'd be tired too. 3 years later, I had 3 heart attacks in a year, all of them undiagnosed until last one, which was life and death. Hashtag diagnosis fat. I see the self-care industry really as the diet industry rebranded. Today it's not lose 10 pounds for bikini season. It's new messaging for the old problem of you're a woman, there must be something wrong with your body. Modern Plant replied, how do you not take having 3 heart attacks as a wake-up call? Like I had slightly high blood sugar reading and I got into full get healthy mode. Osmodius added, to them it is a wake-up call, it's just calling something else. It isn't your extreme obesity is causing your heart to fail, it's you're suffering from unexplainable heart attacks and the doctor don't care because you're fat. Which is fudging insane, but how do you even begin to argue against someone that wants to approach the issue from that direction? From Hotel Stationery. The first rule of lying, make your lies plausible. There's no way you eat nothing but a single piece of toast per day and still gain weight. As someone who hardly eats and is morbidly obese, I feel this. It's horrible. I'm sorry you went through this. Even if it was poor dental hygiene, he shouldn't blame you. Poopy doctor. I feel you in 2 different ways. My doc says that there's nothing wrong with my thyroid, and I don't have PCOS, another common cause of not being able to lose weight. So I should be able to lose weight, right? Since I started going back to school in September, I have 1 piece of toast in the morning. I never eat lunch ever, and sometimes I don't even have supper. Tell me how I'm not running a calorie deficit, and yet I'm not losing weight. If anything, I may have gained a bit. It makes no fudging sense. Yes, this is my name, replied. Obviously this isn't true, but it makes me wonder how they take their coffee. Black or Starbucks? From Vine and Vale. Nobody can change the reality that exercise has health benefits and typically aesthetic benefits. Not even this intuitive eating coach. So why even ask this question? If it was guaranteed that your body would not change one bit, would you still engage in the same type of movement you are now? Why fall when you can fly, replied. If it was guaranteed that your house wouldn't change one bit, would you still be cleaning? If it was guaranteed your bank account wouldn't change one bit, would you still have a job? Just let people do things that are good for them. From Cruffy Creator. Evil doctor wants teen son to be healthy. My teen son has quite an appetite, which I'm told is normal for teens. But I've been putting off taking him for his physical because he's been gaining weight rather quickly since he hit puberty. And I honestly don't want to hear his doctor recommend he limit his carbs intake and get more exercise again. My daughter is short and thin, so her not getting that recommendation and him getting it is frustrating. Especially since she will go to sleep hungry before eating a veggie, won't eat chicken or seafood, and would only eat burgers, nachos, spaghetti, Pop-Tarts, and chocolate pastries if I let her. I'm a baker, so my kids don't want for much treats. They aren't big candy eaters, but they'll demolish some holiday cakes and cookies, lol. I'm still reconditioning him from the notion that fat is bad, which he learned at school. Inked Ravens of Despair. One of my children is a healthy weight, and the other is overweight. Why are they treated differently at the doctors? The expert added. One of my children uses cocaine and the other doesn't. Why are they treated differently by the doctor? Bluphobia is real, Inked Ravens of Despair added. The next 2 aren't exactly FatLogic, but they're pretty crazy and related. From Stalk the Killer. All fit women are what now? I laugh when I see girls going to the gym and getting abs because they are stupid enough to believe they are getting fit and healthy. When you get abs, they block major organs from having enough room, which eventually will damage your health and can cause blood to not flow properly. It's not talked about enough because big fitness companies want you to keep spending money on supplements and gym memberships. You're getting scammed and slowly killing your body. But hey, at least you look good and get loads of likes on social media, right? No thanks. I'm a big girl, but natural weight and body fat is more healthy and softer on your organs, so I'd rather have a healthy system than be a vain bee. Clireland replied, Please tell me a 12-year-old wrote this. What do they think 20 pounds of extra fat around their abdomen will do then? This one definitely wins the FABS award. Give me strength. Krusty Krab Pizza brings us, Is it just me, or is this full of poop? Many people aren't fat, but they can have between 10 to 20 pounds of fecal matter sitting in their colon. Cleansing the colon once or twice a year is important to eliminate issues that caused weight gain, digestive issues like bloating, constipation, and IBS, and here's what you can do. Murivel replied, Person studying medicine here. This doesn't happen unless something is very seriously wrong with you. If you had 10 to 20 pounds of feces stuck in your colon, you would very much know, and you would not be functioning normally.
How much is that much going to back up into you? Makes me want to puke thinking about it.
From Hidden is Back. Fat phobia is when you can't squeeze into jeans? Does not compute. I threw out 11 pairs of ill-fitting jeans. I kept these jeans because of my internalized fat phobia. I kept them because I wanted to squeeze into them. Trev Zors replied, Am I out of touch? Should I consider outgrowing my clothing to be a sign of poor eating habits? No, it's the pants that are wrong. From Dansha KS. If I get told being 423 pounds is unhealthy again, I will commit a felony and go to jail, and then jog my healthy butt to Taco Bell. #stop fat shaming. Emoji of a guy being booked. People say you can't be healthy and fat. Well, this picture proves otherwise. The picture's not shown to avoid harassment. It is often assumed fat people can barely move and never leave their beds, but this woman is standing up just fine. You can be morbidly obese and still be healthy and able to live a normal, active life. This picture proves it. Stop the fat shaming. Fat is beautiful, fat is healthy. It is the patriarchy that has dictated women must all be skinny as rakes for the viewing pleasure of men. Fudge that. You want that donut? That chicken burger and fries? That 15-inch pizza? Then go for it. Get it down you. Enjoy. Smiley face. Word of advice, though. Being fat won't stop men catcalling you. At my heaviest, I was 717 pounds, and men would still catcall me when I was in my mobility scooter buying groceries. Black Cat Luna. Being able to stand is healthy? Tell that to all the people who appear on British weight loss shows hearing their weight, because they lack the energy to play with their young children. One man went from traveling with a folding chair watching his son at the park to playing football with said child and was over the moon about it. Jay Kovacs brings us, In what situation would our body ever need to eat an entire pint of ice cream? If you want to know if you should start dieting again, this is not the subreddit for you. That aside, binging can happen due to stress or a myriad of other factors caused by the current Bud-19 crisis. Your feelings are valid and normal. Intuitive eating isn't about being in control, but learning to accept and understand the needs of your body. In contrast to what diet culture tells us, fluctuating body weight is normal and has nothing to do with being either out of or in control. Our body knows what it needs much better than we do, and if we need to eat an entire pint of ice cream, that probably is what we need at that moment. The self-doubt, the fear of gaining an X amount, or any of those ideas are self-sabotaging thoughts that will bring you back on the path of binging and restricting cycle. Indulging yourself is okay. Stress eating is a natural response. Take a breath, be kind to yourself. This will pass. E-Doctor replied, Interesting how fat A's keep confusing needs of your body with endorphin addictive cravings of your brain. From Super Invested, if you don't congratulate people for their weight gain, you're fatphobic. Culturally, we celebrate weight loss, but not weight gain. It's a systemic issue we've all internalized to some degree. That is fatphobic and rooted in shame. The biggest proponents of fat shaming are members of the medical community. We've been equating thin with healthy for so long, we don't even check our assumptions around this. Think about it this way. The next time you notice a friend or loved one has gained weight, do you offer a congrats or a concern? Then you'll have your answer whether you're fatphobic or not. OCR Amazon replied, I congratulated a friend on his weight gain. He'd been battling stage 3 pancreatic cancer and lost 50 pounds in the process. When he'd regained 30 after his second round of chemo, I was very happy for him. If someone is well over a healthy weight range, though, Congratulating them for gaining will almost certainly humiliate them or come off as sarcasm. Crossroads Coffee brings us. They want so badly to seem oppressed. Rolling eyes.
I had second thoughts about including this one. In my opinion, the FAs went way too far on this one.
Just as African Americans in the South had separate colored building entrances, a not-so-subtle form of discrimination occurs in the design of many retail establishments that place plus-size clothing in hidden, hard-to-find locations, out of sight from the rest of us. Full-figured women can shop at plus-size chains such as Lane Bryant, or big box stores such as Kohl's and Target. Walmart is the top seller of plus-sized apparel in the United States. Yet women who seek more style and fashion at mainstream department stores often feel like second-class citizens. And many retail stores don't even sell plus-size clothes at all, although they may have them available online. The message sent to plus-size customers, "You're not good enough to shop here." Emergency Fruit replied, "Got it. Any store that specializes in any way is discriminatory. Payless Shoes doesn't sell cat food? They must hate cats. Kohl's doesn't sell welding schmucks? They clearly hate construction workers. And Target, even though they sell plus-sized online and are continually resizing so that an extra small is too big for me, obviously hates fat people." Ava Bad brings us. If I go to the store with my friends and anger the employees, do you think they'll change their entire system for me? I'd like to get involved with other people in my community who want to start going to retailers and demanding for inclusive sizing. I'm a healthy, very active mom, and I'm finding it absolutely absurd that I can go into these stores willing to drop hundreds of dollars for a vest or jeans I can essentially not welcomed because they do carry my size. 16 pants, medium large shirt, but curvy so jackets don't fit my hips, and I need and extra large. Anyone ever campaigned, petitioned, etc. in this way? Lil Cherry Peach replied.
Is Lil Cherry Peach a rapper?
When I worked in retail, I encountered a customer just like this. She stormed over to me and started complaining how terrible it was that she couldn't find any extra larges in the store. I asked her what kind of style she was looking for, walked with her, and found various relevant styles in extra large that were displayed on the shop floor. She just got annoyed about being proven wrong and walked straight out without saying thanks. Shrug emoji. From Big Bad Throwaway today. Another example of a thin dietitian telling fat people that eating junk is totally okay. It's not fun to avoid drinking your calories. Actually, yes, you can drink your calories. Actually, yes, you can drink your calories.
That's what it looks like.
This hashtag diet culture rule drives me especially bonkers. Enough with the idea that calories should only come from food we can chew. That's arbitrary garbage. And also totally not fun. Am I right? So to recap, yummy drinks equals fun. Diet culture equals lame. That's my deep thought for today. Laughing, crying emoji. What's your favorite calorie-rich drink? In this pic, I'm enjoying a hashtag Starbucks Nitro Cold Brew. Big Bad Throwaway today replies. I'd like to point out, too, that what she's drinking has 5 calories at its base configuration. 5. In the photo, it looks like some cream has been added to it. So she's drinking a Nitro Cold Brew with sweet cream. That's 70 calories. And this person is telling an obese American that it's okay to drink calories. Which, of course, they will all interpret as it being okay to drink an 800-calorie cinnamon dolce frappuccino every day. Replaced by a robot added, yeah, as soon as I read Nitro Cold Brew, I was like, you basically got black coffee, but okay. Glitter Pants 8. I think the calories are like 0 to 70 depending on which nitro you get, but yes. 70 calories is pretty negligible in terms of drinking calories, especially if it's a treat or accounted for. From Love Dove Bunny. Various health issues? No need to fix anything. Because I'm a type 2 diabetic on insulin and very forgetful about testing my blood glucose. My doc and I agreed to place a continuous glucose monitor for 2 weeks. I didn't realize she would want me to not only do regular glucose testing alongside, but also do a food log. I've never been diagnosed, but probably have a binge eating disorder, in addition to being super fat as a result of decades of dieting and genetic predisposition. I really thought I had a handle on this, but OMG, I am having so much trouble managing this. I am binging in a way that I haven't done in years. I'm eating in anger, and then trying to make up for it by eating healthy things or by eating less. Don't really need a fix for this. The CGM comes off on Thursday, and my doc gets that I'm done with IWL. This was a good experience as far as learning what still doesn't work for me, logging food. If insurance would pay for it, I'd consider a CGM minus the food log again. At the very least, this has convinced me that I need to up my game with glucose testing, as it's not as stable as I thought. I was just a little surprised how hard this was, this far into the darn game. Sylvia's Dead replied, I have a friend who behaves very similarly to the person in this post. This is going to be difficult to explain, especially since English is not my first language, but basically what she does is blame all of her health issues on anything but her actual problems with food and alcohol. For example, she will cut out gluten, dairy, red meat, nuts, and sometimes try to go completely vegan, because she believes that her endometriosis is made worse by consuming animal products, gluten, and nuts. Which may or may not be true. I don't have endometriosis and haven't researched it beyond the basics. Which seems to be very clear on the fact that excess weight exacerbates endo symptoms. However, she will continue eating a bucket of deep-fried potato wedges as a light snack before a full-on dinner, and wash all of that down with a bottle of wine, sometimes 2 a day. She then complains of being deficient in several nutrients, and her ever-increasing weight. She was always quite large, but is now slipping into the category of being morbidly obese, but somehow can't figure out that maybe it is related to a restriction of every food and drink under the sun, except for deep-fried vegan junk food and wine. I see a similar behavior in OP here, who apparently needs to up her glucose testing game, but not actually address her binge eating and problems with obesity. Yes, it's great to be more responsible about your health and keep monitoring any existing health conditions. However, would it hurt to address the actual root of the problem, that is, the binge eating and the fact that she is super fat? Apparently it would. Reflecting the Sun brings us, listening to your body equals starving. Feeling good about eating light is wrong. Is my only choice to binge eat myself to obesity then? Stop using intuitive eating or listening to your body to disguise a diet. Don't convince yourself your body wants to eat light all the time because it feels good. If you're still low-key trying to eat less, it'll backfire. Talozan replied, Are they gatekeeping other people's intuitive thoughts now? What is this insanity? Listen to yourself unless yourself is not doing exactly what I am doing because I am clearly the only way to exist? I honestly can't understand how much these people cannibalize their own members. It's like they really just can't exist with others around, who do anything that is slightly different. Ms. Beaver brings us, No, my dear, it was very much worth it. Even if diets did work, they wouldn't be worth it. The statistic of 95% of diets fail has been around for years. And yet, the diet industry persists. In fact, many people, knowing the statistic, become hell-bent on proving that they will be part of that 5% that succeeds in dieting. But here's the thing. Even if everyone could be part of that magical 5% that can succeed in long-term weight suppression, it wouldn't be worth it. Dieting takes time, lots of time. In fact, everyone who succeeds in dieting only succeeds because the diet never ends. Weight suppression becomes a decades-long struggle as to keep the weight off. The practices and rituals that were originally just part of the diet have to become part of daily life. Maintaining a life that revolves entirely around food, your body, and how to prevent your body from changing sounds pretty boring and frankly kind of disordered. Dieting is expensive. Intentional weight suppression is miserable, especially when you do it for a long time. To compensate for this, diet products become appealing. And although they may aid in the continuation of weight suppression, diet products are fudging expensive. Pills, calorie-reduced food, foods with nutrients removed, whole food supplements, etc. are usually much more expensive than just buying normal food. Is keeping the pounds off for a longer while worth that much money? Probably not. Forky Man replies to that rant about how losing weight takes too much time. Going to kidney dialysis several times a week takes time. Checking your blood glucose takes time.
And I'd like to add, if you live in America, buying insulin costs a lot of money.
Manwathio Ondomil brings us, on a post about a massively overweight brother dropping out of college to join the SEALs.
I don't know the whole backstory to this one, but I feel like we're given half the story. But anyway, the part that is here is interesting.
You're the jerk because laughing my butt off, body shaming, and being jealous for how your parents spend their money on a sibling that isn't you, as that money isn't something promised to you, please get out of grown folks' business. Weight doesn't equal fitness, and your language indicates that you're too busy being hurt because you feel you're owed something, and are using shaming language as a way to lash back. We as the internet don't know the entire story outside of someone talking out of hurt and anger, and unless you're his doctor or something, you don't know if he is massively overweight, outside of what you perceive, nor what your brother is capable of. So even if he is out of shape, as in not fit instead of just being fat, you're still a jerk, lol. Someone who is 5'10 and weighs 270 pounds is massively overweight, especially when none of it is muscle. He can't even walk up the stairs without taking a breather. I don't need to be a doctor to know he is massively overweight, and in no way going to qualify to be a Navy SEAL. It's BS to say weight doesn't equal fitness. To an extent it does. No, not everyone who weighs 240 pounds at 6 feet is fat. They could be very muscular, but 90% of the time it's because they are overweight. Unless he's a mini Hulk, nobody will be 5'10", 270 pounds and be physically fit. Oh, by the way, our doctor told us that he is massively overweight, and he needs to cut down. I'm laughing at the mental gymnastics you're doing, because you post him Am I the Jerk, and get mad when people say yes, you are indeed the jerk, and call you out on your lack of explanations outside of my brother is fat in the original post. You honestly think you're owed more money than your fair share? Laughing my butt off. There's no mental gymnastics here. You made some incorrect and utter BS statements and assumptions, which I corrected. Nah, you're just mad and defensive, and if you really cared about your brother's supposed health, you would have worded it differently in the original post, but you think he's scum because you also think he's taking money from you. Laughing my butt off. That was literally the first thing you said, and therefore the real thing you care about.
Alright, all that happened.
OCR Amazon replied, I've read some books about Navy SEAL training. Recommend The Warrior Elite by Dick Couch. And if this fat dude walked into a recruitment office and said, I want to be a SEAL, he'd probably be laughed out of the room. If they were feeling generous, they'd tell him to lose 100 pounds and come back. There is zero chance a guy that huge could handle the cardio, let alone all the bodyweight exercise and underwater stuff. His buoyancy would be too effed up.
Probably wouldn't fit the suit either.
2-sample t-test added, I worked with SEALs for years. I was intel, not a cool guy, don't misunderstand. I ran a sub 18-minute 5K. Pretty nice. My marathon pace is a sub 8-minute mile, also very nice. I couldn't touch those guys on a bad day. No one who was 240 pounds could make it through buds. It's not physically possible to move that much body weight around the way they do.
SEALs guys have practical weight, not show weight. They don't look like Arnold Schwarzenegger.
You Samwatch brings us. I'm a teacher in New Zealand, and this is part of a lesson from our school curriculum. Lesson 9. Body Image. Thinking critically about fatness and body weight. Intended outcome. Critically reflect on stereotypes about fatness and body.
So far, no big deal. It goes on for a bit, in 2 languages. I don't speak the second one, I have no idea what it says. It's got some good parts, such as,
it is important that teachers are non-judgmental about body size. People who are perceived as obese experience humiliation, shame, and social exclusion in many contexts.
However, in that last sentence, obese was in quotes, which is insane because obese is a medical condition, not something you can say so-called with. But here's the really bad part.
You might want to remind them that fat does not equal unhealthy, and that we cannot tell how healthy someone is by looking at their body size and shape.
I guess there's some social reasons for this. There's 2 groups of people living in New Zealand. One with an obesity problem, and they want to minimize social problems between the 2 groups. But at the same time, pretending that fatness is healthy it's just not scientifically true.
Over and interesting as fudge, Jim Doug shows us that in Mexico they started requiring warning labels on foods and drinks that have excessive sugar, calories, or sodium.
They've got a picture of a can of Coke, and it says on it, excessive calories and excessive sugar. And they have a picture of some McCormick sauce, and it says excessive calories, excessive sodium, and excessive saturated fat. I like the giant big letters that they're forced to put onto their products in Mexico. Kind of wish we had that in America too. I don't know if it would change anything, but at least people couldn't pretend they're ignorant of the facts when it's written on huge letters on all the unhealthy foods.
From a fake username. I have a gorgeous best friend who is constantly triggered by my recent weight loss to the point where I feel I can't celebrate my milestones without feeling like a jerk. She, let's call her Zoe, has always been on the heavier side. She had a baby a few years ago and never lost a baby weight. She gained quite a bit more. She is now maybe close to 300 pounds. We are the same height. I always have and will truly believe Zoe is stunning. She has this naturally dark, shiny, copper-red hair, with big natural curls, huge hazel eyes, dimples, freckles, natural hourglass shape. She gets stopped in the street and complimented a lot. I know that says nothing about the way she feels about herself, but I felt the need to describe her. Zoe is a fox. She's also my best friend since high school, the kindest, smartest woman I know, and has supported me throughout some of the darkest hours of my life. I can legit say I wouldn't be here today without her.
Is it just me, or does it kind of sound like she's in love with her? Anyway.
I've never been quite obese, I don't think. I was at my heaviest in June 2019, when I was 185 pounds. I'm 5'4", and I've struggled my whole life with severe depression, CPTSD, dissociative disorder, etc. But it's only in the last couple of years that I've added cardio to my recovery and management plan, and it's been the best thing I ever did for myself. I didn't do this to lose weight. In fact, weight loss has to be kept completely off the table. It was because I'd caught myself getting winded after climbing a flight of stairs. I'd run to catch a bus and thought I was going to pass out right in front of the driver and everybody. I had chronic insomnia and back pain. I felt so old and I was not ready to be old yet. My dad is 65, still plays tennis, and I couldn't keep up with him. Not cool. I've gone from a size 16 US to a size 10/8 in 2 years. From 185 to 141 pounds. Like I said, I wasn't focused on losing size, but then this body emerged that I'd never seen before, and I was like, mine, lol. And I still don't recognize it. It's changed how I dress. I used to wear baggy clothes and only dark colors. Now I wear bright clothes and graphics all the time. I have so much more energy than I ever had. I'm more outdoorsy and better at making food choices without having to stick to a diet. I never used to cook, and I would get takeout constantly. I make almost all my own everything now, down to the salad dressing. I have an Instagram account, and every once in a while, maybe once every couple of months, as I'm pretty modest still, I've posted a pic of myself in the typical lame basic girl yoga gym pose, with my most recent workout stats. Shortly after, Zoe will call me, crying and upset. She says she gets jealous and it triggers other issues and reminds her how much she hates her own body. It's always followed by a sincere apology for being negative and hurting my feelings. I responded with my own apology because I don't want to cause Zoe any pain. I've tried to tell her that I really want to be able to share my achievements. I don't have that many, and she's always like, no, you should. Please don't worry about me. But then several weeks later when I do, the same phone call happens all over again. This has been for almost the whole 2 years since I started exercising. I feel like I'm being a butt trench and rubbing my weight loss in Zoe's face. I know it bothers her, but I post my pics anyway. I wonder if there are other people who see these posts of mine and feel the same way. I'm just making them feel like poop. I know what it's like to struggle with self-worth and self-acceptance. And I remember the feeling of putting on an outfit that I loved and still feeling uncomfortable in it all day. Heck, that was 30 years of my life. But I never ever wanted to be the cause of someone else's pain. I know pain. Celebrating success is a new thing for me. I have lifelong damaging leanings and ideate constantly. So when I reach a goal and swell up with pride, I latch onto that emotion for as long as I can, like a log on a turbulent river. I'm 40 and in the best shape of my life. That's a gift I worked extremely hard to give myself. All those moments during a run when I felt like I might die but kept going, I translate that into surviving each day. So I don't know what to do. The easy solution to me seems to be to just stop bragging about myself so much. Zoe has been my best friend forever since we were 17. She's my ride or die. I'd be lost without her, but I also want to take pride in following through for myself for the first time in my whole life.
I don't have a solution to her, but it sounds to me like Zoe is not the best friend. When somebody's my best friend and they succeed at something, even if they succeed way better than me, I don't just bring them down and complain about how I'm not good enough. I talk about how good they are. Zoe has a very negative mindset, and she needs to get over that on her own. There's nothing you can do to fix it.
The next one's an update from Pop 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 Throwaway. It's an update about the 21-year-old female who thinks that her roommate, who's 22, is trying to make her gain weight secretly. You may remember this from a couple months ago. Basically, the roommate was changing her foods without her knowledge in order to fatten her up. I don't know if it was to make her more attractive, or because she was planning on eating her. Hey all, back with an update. I'm sorry it took so long, between moving, starting work back in person, and a bunch of other good things. I've been running around like a chicken with its head cut off. You were all very helpful, so I wanted to keep you posted. Also, just a quick note on some lovely messages I got about my BMI, and me or my girlfriend being anorexic. I don't know my BMI, and I don't care, but I am by no means what you would consider petite. I'm 5'8" and 136 pounds. My girlfriend is 6 feet and 140 something. Health looks different on all people. Firstly, I am out of my apartment with old roommate. After my original post, I was at my girlfriend's house discussing the situation with her. My girlfriend surprised me with her response, actually. She has never felt comfortable around my roommate and felt like she was slightly possessive of me. My girlfriend hadn't mentioned anything because she did not want to be too controlling or isolating. Girlfriend helped me to formulate a plan, and this is what happened. Basically, I just went home the next day and confronted the roommate, sort of. I just said, "My eczema has been getting really bad lately. I think I need to cut out more sugar," and watched her reaction. Guys, she freaked out and said that no way she would let me do that. It would be super unhealthy and make me even thinner. This freaked me out, and I asked her what she meant. She said I was already too thin, and that she had been trying to help me get meat on my bones.
It does sound like she was trying to eat her.
I point blank asked her if she had been messing with my food. She did not confirm yes, per se, but her reaction told me all I needed to know. She said if she ever did something like that, it would only be because she was trying to help me. Well, I had heard enough. I left the apartment and basically made up my mind that I really wouldn't be going back. My post was at the start of September, and our lease expired at the end of it. I told my roommate I would not be renewing. This brought on more tears.
I know your roommate was watching a good meal walk away.
But I will not put myself in a situation like that. The good news is that apparently my very sweet girlfriend has been trying to work up the nerve to ask me to move in with her. So that worked out for where I was going to go. I plan to not be in contact with ex-roommate ever again. Thank you. Still in relationship advice from Somewhat Bored. I, a 25-year-old female, know that my fiancé, a 26-year-old male, is hiding his fast food addiction from me. What should I do? Backstory. My fiancé and I have been living together for almost 3 years and together for 6. Over the years, he has gained a significant amount of weight, probably close to 80 to 100 pounds. We have a lot of conversations about this in the past, not because I am not attracted to him, but because I worry about our future if he is unhealthy, our future kids, etc. He made a pact to me that he would be in shape by our wedding, which is now less than 1 year away, and I haven't seen a difference. About a year ago, he left his email logged into my phone and I snooped. I'm sorry, but I snooped. I felt awful, but when I was in there, I saw daily receipts from fast food restaurants, ordering several meals. I was shocked. It made sense why he gained so much weight. But I was upset that he was hiding this from me on a personal and financial level, using a personal credit card not tied to our joint bank account. I confronted him, and he was obviously upset that I invaded his privacy. But once we got past that, we had a conversation, and he explained how the food makes him feel good when he is stressed, and it is an addiction at this point. He promised he would cut back and tell me anytime he was having a craving like that, and we could work through it. There was some improvement, though he never came to me when he wanted something. Fast forward to today. I saw in his email again today that the last week at work he was ordering several meals, milkshakes, etc. to eat for lunch. He has only been going to work in person once or twice a week lately, so he hadn't done it recently, but seeing those 2 meals made me worry again. I don't know what to do. I can't tell him I snooped again, it would make him so mad, but he also clearly has an issue that he promised he would work through. I also know I'm in the wrong for snooping. I clearly have some trust issues as well with this regard. I know it's not that bad in the scheme of things, but I have a father with severe health issues because of obesity, and I love him so much that I don't want to see that in the future. Any advice is appreciated. What do you guys think? I don't have any good advice for this. Should they break up? Should they get married and deal with the fact that one person doesn't trust the other, and that she's right not to trust him? And what about the fact that he's slowly killing himself, but he's so addicted he doesn't care?